COVID-19 has undoubtedly changed life as we know it. Now, the pandemic has affected people worldwide, and it has had a massive effect on the financial as well as the property markets as well. Now, this morning, legal specialist and director at Landen Attorneys, Sidzumo, joins us via video call to talk to us about the impact of COVID-19 on the buying and the selling of property in the country. Junior, good morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Tabiso. Thank you for having me.
Junior, the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's talk about the impact that it's had on the selling and buying of property in South Africa.
Okay, so the impact that this has had on the selling and buying of property, so the deeds offices have actually been not operating and have been closed. So this has actually caused quite a huge delay in terms of the transfer of properties. And another thing is that, obviously people at the moment are going through different positions in terms of, financially. So people are currently now either unemployed or their salaries are cut or there's a restructure in the companies and so forth. So actually banks are also, obviously reviewing their loans, and they may actually revoke the loans as per the crisis at hand, yeah.
It sounds like such a tricky place to find yourself in if you were in the buying process. But what happens then if a buyer finds themselves in a situation where their occupancy period or their occupancy date happens to be during the lockdown?
So during the level 4, the regulations, people could actually move from the 7th of May to the 7th of June, because there was actually a window period that the regulations allowed for people to actually move houses. But level 3, that will not be really an issue as much. So there's new regulations that actually attend to level 3, and people will actually be able to move houses during that period, as long as one has an affidavit which is signed and commissioned by a commissioner of oaths.
The rental market has also been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. What are some of the main challenges here?
So the rental market has obviously been affected. Again, we go back to the fact that during this crisis, people are currently unemployed, people are getting salary cuts, people are finding it really hard to actually pay for their rent. But of course, some rental agreements have the force majeure clause, which actually exempts people from then paying during this period.
And what rights then does a tenant have whose lease may be coming to an end in terms of an extension? Can a landlord simply evict them because the lease has come to an end and say, well, listen, it's not my problem that we're in lockdown?
Not really. So the main thing with lease agreements, usually they have renewal clauses. So there is a renewal clause and there's a notice period in those clauses where landlords can actually offer the tenants to renew the agreement. So it is actually up to the tenant whether they actually want to pursue a renewal or not. So that's a contractual obligation that would be entered into between the two parties, between the tenant and the landlord. Again, when it comes to evictions, during this period, people are actually it's actually prohibited for people to actually be evicted. However, if there are circumstances where the landlord would approach a court due to an eviction process, then that eviction order can only come into fruition after level 3. So people can only be evicted after level 3. Yeah.
And Junior, this is a serious one here. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and certainly a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs as well. There'll be lots of salary cuts as well. What should these people be doing in order to not find themselves on the streets?
So my recommendation is, I don't recommend anyone to just stop paying their rental fees without any communication to the landlord. I definitely advise people or tenants to actually communicate to the landlords and actually express the situation that they're currently in. If they're unable to make certain payments, then they can come into further agreements in terms of how to handle the crisis going forward. So they can come into like a payment plan of sort to manage the situation going forward. Yeah.
It sounds like certainly going back to the contract and going back to that negotiation space between landlord and tenant is the best place to go to. Junior, any resources for consumers during this time should they be finding themselves stuck or in a bit of a pickle? What resources are there?
Yeah, so my first point of call would definitely be to encourage tenants and landlords to actually come into amicable agreements outside of any court process first, as a first encounter. And then should that not work out, I definitely think that one should then go for legal advice and obviously access to courts as well.
Thank you so much, Junior Sidzumo, for making time to chat to us this morning. The law around COVID-19, the buying, the selling of property, as well as the rentals thereof. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And that was such an insightful conversation with legal specialist and director at Landen Attorneys, Junior Sidzumo. Thank you so much for joining us once again right here on Expresso Show. I'm sure that your knowledge on this topic, Junior, has helped many South Africans who were unsure about what to do when it comes to buying and selling property during these very, very uncertain times.